Hello, conscious breathers, breath family, infinite light beings. Today's topic is demonizing fasting. I'm gonna wait for some people to hop in here. If you do fast, please hit the request button. Let's go live. Please do hit the request button. Please go live. Let's go live. I want to have a conversation with as much people who fast. Level Mind is in here. I would love for her to hop on here too, Victoria, because this is a reoccurring topic that is being shown in front of me from different places, from different people, and I find it hilarious because it is. Hey, peace. It is literally spiritual contradictory. It's spiritual contradiction. And people can't see, unfortunately, what's going on. Let's see. Level Mind. Sister, she's about to pop on. Hello, sister.
Hey, called me out.
I'm calling you out. Yeah. I want to talk to as much people who quote unquote do any type of fasting, whether that be intermittent fasting and just in general. So the topic is people who not people, just the topic is demonizing fasting. So from a camp I've heard they say that fasting is the devil, so to speak. It's the devil's work. Yeah, I'm like, huh? So here's my thing. Here's the contradictory part of it. How can fasting be the devil's work or evil work, or however you want to describe it, if you're trying to elevate your quote-unquote spirit when you're fasting, whether that be with pure intentions or without intention? There's a certain part of you that is literally feeding off spirit regardless. Right. It's trying to tap into the everlasting spirit to keep the body afloat. Mm-hmm. So how is it evil? Like, I don't get it. It's contradictory because
I was like about saying, to say it doesn't make sense. And even how you just said in the beginning, you said quote unquote fasting, because like the way I perceive it, there's no really such thing as fasting. Like you can go to different levels of density, because at the end of the day you can be completely like breatharian and you're still not really fasting if you get on your phone, if you go outside, if you're breathing, if you're looking at things, like that's all different forms of consumption. So you can kind of monitor and choose like different levels of density. Mm-hmm. But fasting, as far as like not eating food, that just makes no sense.
It's like calling every baby in the world a demon because they have yet to be put on glue-like foods, so to speak, that diminishes them from the breath of life. Well, that's in general. The less you eat, the more you can quote-unquote breathe, right? That's life. So why is it okay to quote-unquote compress yourself? You're literally suffocating yourself. That's what low key that they're quote unquote preaching. You are suffocating yourself. They're like, no, eat away. And mind you, I'm not taking shots or anything, but this person doesn't look like the it goes way beyond the physical. But mind you, this person also smokes cigarettes and is preaching to the choir that, you know, we are more than the body, so cigarettes is perfectly fine. That's okay. Meanwhile, this person clearly is low-key aging. but unfortunately, you know, this is how you can easily, quote unquote, see through the bullshit. I'm gonna just put it out like that. When you do the work, when you fast, you can literally see through the bullshit. You just see through everything.
It's true. I was about to say, someone that would say that sounds like someone who like either they've never fasted before, or they might have like, and these are all like, these are my projections, whatever, because whenever I first got into my journey, I was kind of hard on myself whenever I was fasting. Like I wasn't gentle, and I wasn't as like nurturing to myself, like rather than like, because now whenever I fast, I try and focus like switching densities, so I'm not taking things away, I'm just adding a lot more of like higher frequency things, to the point where like I don't even think about food. I'm not even like, that's not even where like, that's not the space I'm in. But whenever I first got into it, it's like I would try to fast. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna fast for a week. Never fasted before. And then like I'd be so hard on myself, and like then I'd start feeling bad, because whenever you get to sensitive places and you're thinking like those like dense thoughts, those like self-hatred thoughts of whatever, you get what I'm trying to say, then it hits way worse. It hits way harder.
Don't get me wrong. I understand maybe. So here is, let's look at both sides of the spectrum. Sure, this person may show their group of followers, hey, I can manifest energies and different type of things, of course. But then you have to ask yourself, to what end? To what end? Is it actually worth it? I'd rather be powerless, of however you perceive power. I'd rather be powerless, living my best breath, and being in less of in a suffocating realm of reality, than what many of these people are allured to or manipulated into, quote unquote, believing, unfortunately. And at that point, people have to be honest with themselves. Are you after power, or are you really after self
Like external
and
validation versus just feeling
free
good
to
in your
express
body.
yourself? No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, external validation versus actually like just feeling good and content inside of your body, and like feeling safe. Yeah, because that just doesn't make sense. Because I feel like at some point that same person like would have to contradict themselves by saying like, hey, like maybe telling their followers or whatever, like maybe you should take a break from your phone once a day to like get your mind off of that. Well, that's phone fasting. Like
Exactly.
Maybe you should cut out those vamps, energy vamps, like whatever, like people like that. Okay, well that's fasting. Like
And here's the other part of it. You can't tell me you can eat 24/7. Eating 24/7 every hour is good for you.
That's
you
God's
just
word.
you just can't. It just doesn't make a logical sense at this point. No.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't gluttony also be the devil's work? Like
what, gluttony?
Yeah. Yeah, like where's the line between
Especially, I have nothing against people who smoke in general, but if you're smoking and you're telling everyone ayahuasca is bad, I mean, like, what? Like, people who, especially that dwells in that realm, at that point you can just tell that they have no clue whatsoever in terms of what it actually is. Secondly, how can you say that that's bad, meanwhile, while you're eating other stuff that has density? Meanwhile, ayahuasca is technically a liquid, and it's not like it's alcohol or anything. It's totally different, So it just doesn't make sense. And I pray for these people. I really do, because it's like, that's how you know parasites are really low-key ruling the world, and maybe giving some people a different side of, quote unquote, superhuman abilities, so to speak. But again, to what end of suffering? I would rather, again, be closer to the baby that's closer to source.
Right.
You don't see a baby smoking in the womb, do you? Like, what? Make it make sense, as my friend Jay would say. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Yeah, it just I'm trying to think like, cause if it is like, wait, how you're saying like it just goes to show about parasites. Like if their nervous system is hijacked, like at that point it's like obviously there's confusion that's going to be expressed outwards because it's like this body, this living body with a soul and a spirit that wants to create and express itself and live, and then entities like eating away at that life force at the same time. It doesn't make sense. It's contradicting constantly. So it's
No,
like,
I
appreciate you say like that space for compassion. Like I pray for these people because it's not a fun place to be in. It's not a fun space to.
No, and I can just tell like the people who are telling me this, you know, some of them are close friends, and they chose to go in different routes of healing, unfortunately. But you know, when they're telling me this, I'm like, man, I just have to sit back and like, how can you not see through the manipulation that's going on here, how you're being manipulated? And I was looking at this person who makes haritaki powder, right? And he's very well into fasting, bodybuilder. I helped him out a couple of times, and I just love his saying that when you fast, like, and he loves to tell me this. I'm like, man, when you fast, you see through the bullshit. You just see through it. You see through people too. You just can't hide it because you're closer. You know, you're breathing more efficiently, and you can just tell what's what out there, and what is low-key ciphering your energy, because that's what I feel that's actually going on with this school that is unfortunately preaching that you need to suffocate yourself with food and you can manifest this type of energy and do these things. And I'm not here to negate or degrade, and I'm not going to say that, hey, what you experience is not real or whatever. I'm sure whatever you experience going to the places that you've been to with this teacher or whatever, sure, it's been real. But again, in the long spectrum, at what end, at what cost? You know, that's the other thing you really need to think about.
Right. Yeah, and I think if it's any type of healing, if it's any type of health, like I just want to touch on this because, like, of course, and then someone else can hop on because I know you said like you want to get more people to talk.
I want to get more people. Hit the request.
But like if we're talking about health, if we're talking about healing, then bringing it back to the breath, like, I mean, clearly after you eat a bunch, you can't breathe as deeply. You can't hold your breath. You can't hold the bottom, like your diaphragm, like it's stuck. You get swollen. You pass out a lot of times if you eat a big meal and then you're super tired. Like, how is that like just feel it inside. Like if you're actually like living inside of your body, then you would be able to clearly see like, okay, there's obviously like one that's kind of like, you can just feel the levels of density. Like you can't deny that. That's something that like there's no getting around, I feel like.
And here's the thing that they're teaching. I definitely, you know, we've heard the saying that, yeah, you're more than the body, you're not the body, but you're everything, right? So here comes the whole contradicting side. I'm like, well, if you're saying that, how are you not the body then? Like, what? Like, make it make sense.
True. And it's like, I feel like a lot of spiritual people are kind of like fearful of being like embodying their lower chakras, like being grounded. They're like all up here, like talking about how we are everything and we're all one, and like premature unity consciousness, they say, when it's like you're not even grounded, like you're not in your body. How could you feel that? You're saying it, you're intellectualizing it, but it
like I said, at what end? And even my Sifu, he said that, and he can literally create fire with his hands, right? And he said, you know, when you look at all these great kung fu artists, like even Bruce Lee's mentor, right? Ip Man. If you look at him, all these kung fu artists back in the day, they would smoke a lot, and they would still generate energy and stuff like that. But on their deathbeds, they're thinking like, and this was a time when people were finally realizing, I think from like the 1930s to like early 2000s, people are starting to realize how bad smoking was, right? And the health effects it has. Well, in the long run, of all these great masters that could generate X amount of power and things like this, they said, man, they couldn't towards the end of their life, that would diminish. And I look at it as, let's say you have a huge spike of energy doing something, and then there's a crash coming afterwards. It's like the karma is like coming back to you in full force at that point in time, hitting you just like that. And most of them on their deathbed are saying, man, I wish I didn't smoke. I wish I didn't smoke, and it just goes to show, like, at what end, at what cost, why choose suffering? That's all it is. It's just choosing. It's not you are choosing the lifestyle and what you want to feel. If you want to go through more suffering, then by all means. I'm not here to degrade anybody. I'm just expressing a different side of things and showing both sides of the spectrum of how they're contradicting each other. They really are.
Yeah, I heard someone say, I think her handle is on here, the Trauma Queen, but she always says, like, you can choose to learn through pain or through peace. And like, if you eat a bunch of food, you're gonna be in pain. If you're constantly eating like a bunch of food, you're gonna be in pain. Definitely.
And those that believe that, oh, eating's not gonna affect me in any way because I dwell in a spiritual world or whatever it is in that sense, and it doesn't affect. Well, let's put into consideration that people who are vegans, not all of them are quote unquote spiritual, right? Mm-hmm. And yet the numbers show otherwise in terms of health.
Right.
Or people that just don't eat processed foods and are not spiritual, the numbers show a pretty good level of health, regardless if they're spiritual or not. So, people need to understand how the astral side, sure, there's things where we can't see and things like that. And we can't, this is why I love Chinese medicine, how we look at the aura, we say, all right, that organ is messed up, that needs tuning on this part of the body. But what is that saying? That's saying that the physical is echoing into the spiritual, and the spiritual is echoing back to the physical. There's a feedback. You can't get around it. You can't get around it. There's a feedback that's happening 24/7, right? Right? Because we're all one, right?
Right.
We're all one. Right. So, again, doing the work, fasting itself lets you see through the bullshit. End of story.
It's a great note to leave it on. I think I'll hop out. Thank you for having me.
All right, sister. Thank you for popping on. All right, peace. People who do any type of fasting, please hop on. Alex, you're next, okay? I'm gonna pop you in afterwards. You're next. No worries. Hey, brother.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Chilling.
So, you wanna add into the topic of people who are quote unquote demonizing fasting when they're contradicting themselves and they're focused more on the spiritual side, when in hindsight everything is happening all at once in unison and there's no separation in that point?
I mean, we're all having a spiritual experience to begin with. So the fact that they're even creating separation when trying to say that they have a way or some shit like that is just hilarious to me, and like they're over.
Oh, you see Gerald?
But yeah, it's just like this world is just like there's just a bunch of vices. Like everyone chooses like what Level Mind was saying, Victoria. You know, like we're always consuming something, whatever we're looking at. That's already like so much energy, like 20% energy. And then breathing, that's like so much energy. So like, you know, and then even being around the people, like you're consuming people. So like if you're fasting off of certain energies, like you're breathing in their air, their microbiome. So like
And
whatever.
many people don't realize that when they're stuck in a dogmatic way of doing things. They always ask me like, how can you be around this X amount of people while fasting? Well, I mastered the breath, so they have less effect on me if that's what you're asking. You know,
Oh yeah.
it's not one way of doing things. Like you're supposed to fast and not be around people, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you master the breath and you master just energy itself while you're fasting, it's just a heightened experience of a spiritual play. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's very heightened, and you're so light because there's so much more light able to go through your body, you know. So like when I really started getting into fasting more, it was actually when I was around a lot of people, and it was hard because I lived in a spiritual community where they're doing tons of potlucks, vegan potlucks, all this and that, and I'd be like, fuck it, I'm doing a 7-day fast. But, you know, most of my fasts, I wouldn't even realize it. And I was intermittent fasting as it was. And then, like, food was just never on my mind. I just felt so good doing my breath work, my yoga, like, doing my flows. Like, I was just so in the flow state that it just did not cross my mind. So I was like, most of my longest fasts were actually me just because I felt good. Like, why am I going to, like, stray from that if my body's telling me, hey, I feel great. My mind, my body, and like my spirit are also clear. Now,
let me ask you something. How did you know your mind was quote unquote clear?
Clear? Oh man.
And this is where the contradictory comes in, because they believe in, hey, you're more than the body. You're more in the astral, or you're more of that than the body, right? So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I knew my mind is clear because I could see through the bullshit. And I was just in a more of a 0 point state, like that frequency. So I was just like the observer. And I was just like able to just be so clear. And every breath I was taking was DMT. Like every natural, regular breath was DMT like. And I was having such a psychedelic experience just living. And I was just like, wow, this just feels so correct. I feel so nice. And then I just started realizing that, like, oh my God, like the people did not want to be around me. Like the dense ass people, they just did not enjoy me. It's weird. They would project on me, and they'd like, just like,
it's like a natural bubble of protection that many fasting people who fast don't even realize that they're creating, in a sense. And it goes back to the baby. Like, I'd rather be like that baby, you know, even when parents are maybe not be the best parents, but not every parent's going to bring their child to like a party or a club like that, right? Because they're aware there's some power that the baby is having an effect on the parents, where the baby is somehow protecting themselves in an energetic perspective, where you won't bring a baby to certain places. You just won't.
Exactly.
Because you're so close to source energy, like they know what's up.
Exactly. And so, yeah, so my I was very aware of energies, subtle energies and everything as it was, because I was doing lots of kundalini, and like lots of that is focusing on strengthening all your bodies, your energy bodies, everything. So as I became more aware of all these energies and my own energies on my bodies, I was just like, really, I realized that not even I necessarily wanted to be around their shit either. But at the same time, I had that compassion, and I can see where they're at. And like, I didn't care, because like, I was just like so accepting of myself and others. So, you know, I can just feel the densities as I walk into rooms and just see how their facial expressions and their energies and these, who's really in their vessel, who's really in control of their vehicle.
Exactly. Like, hey brother, I gotta go. But I also wanted to add what you were saying real quick, that the mere fact that you can you stepped into the observer effect, because that's a power of fasting and paying more attention to your breath does, that you realize thought densities. Can you actually see thoughts? No.
No, but
that is part of the astral realm that you're talking about. So if we can use the vessel and understand how frequency is coming in and out this vessel, we understand energy as well. It's all part of one big powerful game. And thank you, brothers, for coming on. I think I might go live on this topic again, because I see a bunch of people. I definitely want to get Gerald in here if he has time later on. But I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Go intuitive, and I felt like it was like a tuning fork. I felt like my body was a tuning fork, and by the end of it, I could visualize like a white, beam of light, and just kind of like focusing in on that, and really able to get centered. I feel like I got tuned. So,
like I said, with this type of breath, with this symphony in unison like this, there's no right way to tune in harmony. It's like that's why I took away the counting from the breath work in the sense of inhale for 4, exhale for 4 in that time, because there is no perfect 4. There's no perfect 3. What about the 3.3.1.5 x a millisecond or whatever it is, So that's just another stress factor. If anything, just focus literally on counting breaths, if anything. So like I said, guys, like next time we do this, don't be too hard on yourself. There's no right way, because everyone is at different levels of their journey. There's even a point in time where I just wanted to go deep and really deep in the breath and just hear that way. And some of you did. I don't know who did, but I heard someone even slowing it down a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. Whatever feels right, as long as we're doing it in unison and just doing the right format. There was even a certain point where I did during the event where I had everyone just really go at their own pace for the serotonin breaths, and it was just a beautiful echo, because you heard different tones of being when it came to that. Yeah, but anyone else want to share?
If I can.
Yeah.
So I brought the candle as you told me, and from that candle I had my shadow on the wall, and when I couldn't focus on my third eye anymore, because I still cannot do it perfectly and long enough, I saw my shadow, and I saw my hand on shadow of my hand on my open hand like this on the wall, and I was feeling like when I was looking at that shadow, I was feeling in my hand like vibration, more of vibration. Like I was looking at the shadow of my hand, but my hand was vibrating more while I was looking at it. I was like, oh wow. Yeah, that was cool. Thank you so much.
I just want to say that was a powerful session, and the tuning with the y'all was really nice. I felt like the tuning with higher self was very, very clear. Like the space that I was in with the third eye walk especially really felt like an authentic connection with self, and so I just appreciate all y'all being here too.
Just say that I thought it was amazing as usual. I definitely, as we were going into it, the further and further we got, I could definitely feel myself just becoming more and more in tune and calm and centered. And I think towards the end, I generally try to just keep up with the pace, and I know it's we should just ignore that and sort of just do it. So I think one of the tips I guess I give myself and maybe other people is that I could just skip a breath, I'll let you go, I'll do one breath with you, then I basically hold at the bottom and then join the next breath. And it just seems to I don't know, seems to synchronize more sometimes with me.
And in that sense of being, why I like doing the whole, people going random all at once too, because you get out of the ego. You just have to get out of the ego. There was even a certain point where people were just laughing hysterically and just being, you really have to, it's a nice exercise in itself to really get out your ego and literally let higher self do what it needs to do. So thank you for sharing that, Chris. That's powerful.
Yeah, it was an amazing session, always. But one thing I can say is that felt like my skin's breathing, I guess. And I haven't felt like that for a while because been trying to balance out different things, but definitely like even the temperature of my skin's changing. That's weird. Because usually when it gets like nighttime, I get a bit colder. I don't know why, but my skin just gets a whole lot colder. But yeah, it was very refreshing. And yeah, I also had it in the back of my head like, oh, what if I fell behind, or what if I'm not doing it right? Yeah, as more breaths, the amplitude of breaths increased, I just kept on diving deep into the session, and yeah, just more deep into myself. So I'm just really grateful that y'all got to share this moment, share our breaths together in such a profound way, and definitely a new way. I've never done this before. So I'm really grateful.
Powerful. Let's try taking weird out the vocabulary. Make it your new normal. Make feeling vibrant, powerful your normal. Don't be afraid of that. That's like I said, everyone deserves inner peace. Whenever they can get it, whenever they can tune into it, everyone deserves that. Hey, Marissa, I think that's you, right? With the baby?
Yeah, that's me with the baby. So, yeah, I'm so grateful that I was able to be here. I didn't think I was going to make it. And then it was like something, called me in, and, my baby wasn't going to let me go without her. So she joined us, but she was breastfeeding the whole time. And, I think it was just really special to do that all together with you guys, and for her to be there as well. And I just have so much gratitude to be here.
Much love. Did you notice the baby reacting in any way when we were doing it?
Yeah, she kept like looking up at me and looking at the phone, and she was really calm and relaxed, and you were even like kind of just, I mean, she was just breathing like she normally does, but it seemed to be like the breath was just so powerful that she could feel it too, and I could feel that she was feeling it.
Beautiful. How about you, Lon? And I want to quickly say that yeah, even if I thought the baby was gonna make a noise. I was thinking that, what if the baby makes a noise? Well, I was even thinking about it, so I'm like, well, at least we have like that pure baby energy, like in part of the symphony. I'll be okay with that.
No, she was good.
Yeah,
you were good. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Lon, brother, how are we feeling?
That was awesome. I'm so delighted to hear that the baby joined in, and even have that connection, like a literal connection between you and that being, and joining together with us. I'm so grateful for that. My back is tingling around where I'm not sure what to call them. I would guess like shoulder blades on your back, somewhere around there. I feel like there's like an angel wings on each side type of thing going on. And once we got to the third part of the breath, I definitely felt myself floating off and, kind of losing force with the technique. And I just felt like I was going deeper for sure. So definitely grateful to be in sync with you all. There was a certain sensuality that I enjoyed about the first portion, and it just sounded, like spiritual wails or moans that were, going off in different frequencies, and it was just super awesome to, like tune in with that and then really let go of the sound and then actually engage with the breath, just being inspired by what I was hearing. So I appreciate you all.
Thank you, brother. Does anyone else want to share?
Yeah. Do you know, I usually have a hard time focusing and keeping my thoughts out of, and I love that you didn't guide the session. Like you explained what we had to do or how it would work, and then everyone just did it. So I feel like the sounds and people breathing together kind of helped me stay focused. And it was a good experience because I usually get lost in my thoughts when the session is not guided, but this time wasn't like that. So it was wonderful. And then the sound experience too. You and Jen did a great job.
Beautiful.
So give thanks, everyone.
Thank you, brother. Does anyone else want to share anything else?
I definitely can relate to the colors. I changed the lighting in my room, but when we were going deeper, I felt like I saw how the lighting was beforehand, and there was some sort of blurry imagery that I was looking deeper into, but I definitely felt it was a lot brighter, and I appreciate being in sync with you all to have the red light on as well.
Time, let's do like 5 rounds though,
Huh?
I was just saying next time let's do like 3 to 5 rounds though.
Yeah, I wanted to respect everyone's time as well. Next time I want to do a breath symphony every month actually, and a Q&A or like, interactive, we have a conversation at a certain topic. We'll definitely do that soon. This month, I just realized how short this month is, but I'll have everyone vote on a date and we'll figure that out. Maybe I want to do, maybe not the 6 p.m. I want to give, people on the other side of different parts of the world a chance to get on Zoom as well. So maybe like earlier during the day or maybe like 3 a.m. Eastern time-ish, give people that chance. But yeah, thank you all for sharing the breath. I decided to keep the breath symphony to ourselves, and I'll share that on the WhatsApp link so where you guys can download the MP3 audio. And yeah, well, that's that. Thank you all for sharing the breath. Until next time, peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace, gratitude, love.